Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany and I make content on intentional living. And in today's video, we are going to be focusing on a new recipe. I've been liking some food TikToks and now the algorithm has picked up on it and I keep getting chicken nuggets passed to me. So I thought it'd be really fun to try a recipe. Now, normally I don't like to do a lot of from scratch recipes. I think there's a lot of that content out here. I normally just like to make, I just call them regular people meals, where you just go to the grocery store and kind of put something together. You're not really doing like a 10 or 15 ingredient from scratch meal. I think there's a lot of other creators and better cooks out there making that kind of content. But from time to time, I would like to try things and improve my own cooking skills. And I thought it would be fun in my videos to try to do something small that make them a little bit more personal to me, or maybe change an ingredient as an experiment so you guys have that information if you were curious about making those changes. And then I thought I would actually do a rating as somebody who doesn't really cook from scratch, from 1 to 10, if I found the recipe maybe intimidating or just too much effort, not really practical for day-to-day life. So I will give that rating at the end from 1 to 10. And I will also be linking this creator in my description below. I will link her website where she has the recipe and her TikTok, so you guys can go check her out and follow her page. Everything on there looks really good. But otherwise, I have everything printed out here, so I am going to be reading from it. And if you guys want it again, I'm not going to link it because this is not my information. You guys can go to her stuff and get it and follow along with her. But I will be reading it so you guys can see what I'm doing. The only changes that I am deciding to do is in the chicken nugget mixture. It calls for a teaspoon of granulated sugar, and I'm just making an executive decision to cut that out. We'll see if it ends up sucking. And then for some reason, when I actually had every single thing already, so I did not have to buy anything from this. I had my stock of chicken already. I had cornstarch, baking powder, flour, salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. So I didn't have to buy any of that. But I did not realize that the recipe called for 2 cups of cold carbonated club soda. And I did some research, and if you really want that chicken nugget, McDonald's chicken nugget feel, that really light kind of like teppanyaki, or not teppanyaki, tempura like fry, the carbonation from the club soda is what's going to give you that light flakiness. So that's going to be really important. However, I didn't realize that, and I am kind of interested to see what regular water would do, if it's just going to make the fry too dense and I'm not going to like it. Because I would like, is honestly, when I go through recipes, I try to cut things out. Like in here, it actually calls for a white pepper, and I made a decision that I'm not going to go purchase the white pepper. I'm going to work with what I have. I'm just going to put black pepper. That's only half a teaspoon, and the salt was only a teaspoon as well, or 1 full teaspoon. So I'm hoping those won't be massive changes, but we'll see how it turns out. So if you guys are curious what no salt in the sugar, no salt in the sugar, but no sugar in the chicken nugget mixture, that will turn out. And if you're interested in swapping carbonated club soda for regular water, this is definitely a good video for you. And then the one thing I wanted to do to kind of put like a little bit of a twist on it for me is I thought it would be really cute to make heart-shaped nuggets. And in the future, if this turns out, I can make some dinosaur ones for my son. So I got these on Amazon, and I like these ones because there's a bunch of different heart things you can do with it. You can make a heart uncrustable, and then you can do like different punches and put the heart inside of another heart. So that's why I got this one, and it wasn't too expensive. And I haven't really decided what size heart I'm going to do, but probably just the small one, or I kind of like the idea of an oversized nugget. And then I'm also not doing a ton of chicken. I'm doing less than a pound as more of like, this is an experiment for the recipe. This recipe calls for 1.5 pounds, so I'm just assuming I'm going to have, well, I guess actually my meat's going to be pretty seasoned. I'm pretty okay with that actually. And then I'm probably going to have wet batter left over, and so that it was just going to be extra seasoning basically for me. Probably 50% more seasoning, which doesn't make me mad. There's nothing too aggressive in this. It's garlic powder, onion powder, I'm going to put the black pepper. I'm scrapping the salt or the sugar. I might put a little bit less salt so it doesn't have a ton of sodium in terms of like ratio. And then the cornstarch. So I'll just leave that at a tablespoon and see what happens if it's just going to be too much. So we're just gonna risk it all and wing it and have some fun, and then I will rate the recipe at the end and let you guys know if missing the salt or the I don't know why I keep calling sugar salt, if missing the sugar was a mistake and if skipping the club soda was a mistake as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. I went ahead and changed my angle here, and the chicken's a little bit cooked because I had to defrost this because I keep a bulk in my freezer. And I only have a tiny food processor, so we'll see how this goes. I might have to break this up into a few different batches. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do 2 separate blends. And if you're curious, I did just go wash my hands. I take the raw chicken pretty seriously. So in step 1 here, it says cut the chicken tenderloins into cubes, which I freeze mine like that because I hate dealing with chicken. My husband does it for me. And then process until the chicken is finely pureed until smooth, uniform consistency. So let's see if my cheap food processor can handle that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and highlight step 1. We did that. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to step 2. Transfer the pureed chicken to a large bowl. Add garlic powder, white pepper, onion powder, sugar, salt, cornstarch. Mix thoroughly until all the seasoning are evenly incorporated into the chicken mixture. Sounds reasonable enough. I'm going to go ahead and put you guys into a time lapse so you don't get bored with me measuring my seasonings. Okay, so I put everything in there, and again, I'm going to remind you guys that I made the executive decision to skip out on the sugar. I put a smidgen less cornstarch, and I swapped out the white pepper for black pepper because I didn't have the white pepper. And I'm just going to get in here with my hands. This definitely feels like it's going to be really well seasoned, which is actually making me excited. I eat really plain, if that makes sense, but like a lot of seasoning. So I don't have really fancy foods, but I'll put a lot of seasoning or crushed red pepper. I like spicy. I'll have a burger and have it plain, no lettuce, tomato, or pickle or anything like that, or mustard or ketchup, but I'll put hot sauce on it, or I'll even have my husband put extra pepper. Pretty impressed with my cheap food processor, the consistency I was able to get this at. Okay, I'm going to declare that good enough. And if you're wondering, I've already washed my hands 5 times, and I'm basically probably not going to have hands after this. So let's move on to the next step. Okay, so step number 3 says line a baking sheet or tray with parchment paper using slightly damp or lightly oiled hands to prevent sticking. Shape the chicken mixture into nuggets for the full copycat McDonald's chicken nugget look. Form them into classic bells, ovals, or boots, or round style shapes. So this is the part I've been waiting for because I literally cannot wait to make heart-shaped nuggets. Okay, I picked out a heart size from the pack, and this is a Foster's Farm nugget, just to give you guys reference. And I mean, they're roughly the same size. It's not too crazy. So I think these will be a really cute shape. It mentioned oiling your hands, so I'm just gonna actually follow the instructions on this one and do it. This is something I would normally just make up my own rules to. And I want my hearts to turn out really cute. Now I need to decide how thick to make them. That feels right. It's so cute. I never thought raw chicken could look so good. Yay, I'm so excited. All right, I'm going to change you guys to a time lapse now so you don't have to watch that 100 times. Okay, I think they turned out so cute. So my less than a pound made 12 heart nuggets, and then I kind of ran out of room to work. So I just scooted it over. So let's go ahead and cross off shaping the nuggets. We're a third of the way there. We just have 6 more steps. Arrange the shape. Freeze the nuggets. Cover the tray and place the nuggets in the freezer for 1 hour. This helps firm the chicken mixture so the nuggets hold their shape during the coating and frying process. All right, so I'm going to put this in the freezer, and I don't think I'm going to do an hour. I have a deep freezer, so it gets pretty cold pretty fast. I think they'll be frozen solid in an hour, especially on the metal tray. So I'm going to do 30 minutes and check on them and then go from there. Okay, we are back from the freezer, and they are definitely stiffer than they were. I think if my husband and son weren't up in the playroom waiting for me to finish filming, I would do the full hour, but they're upstairs waiting for me to finish so I can have some quiet. So I'm not going to really worry about that right now. So right now, we're going to move on to step 5. While the nuggets are chilling, add 1 cup of all-purpose flour to a shallow bowl or dish. Set aside. This will be the first coating for your chilled nuggets. Steps 4 and 5 are easy. 4 was me kicking my feet up while I was in the freezer. 5 was just scooping a cup. Moving on to 6. Make the crispy wet batter. In a separate large bowl, combine 1 cup of all-purpose flour, cornstarch, baking powder, salt, garlic powder, and very little carbonated or very cold carbonated soda. Mix until combined in a smooth batter forms. And I don't know where I give these to my son to play with. So I'm just going to eyeball 1/4 of this. Looks like a third. This looks like it should work. Just me over here making up my rules. I'm just going to do, I guess I'll do the full 1.5 since I'm keeping this mixture full, and I'll just have some left over. So that way the ratio is not off because I didn't lower in any of the others. Okay, I'm kind of terrified of the oil. I've actually never in my life have fried anything. So, I don't know. I should have watched some videos where we did this, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so I have the nuggets here. All right, after we're done, we're gonna do the dry mixture. And then we're going to dip into the flour nugget into the wet and make sure it's fully coated on all sides. Allow excess to drip off. Okay, I'm so scared. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna do another one. Alright, I'm gonna move you guys into a time lapse while I do this. Okay guys, I am back from frying and I greatly underestimated that. That was actually super overwhelming for me. I had never fried anything ever, and I probably should have watched a few videos on what to do and how to do it and how much oil. I probably would even go as far as to get the right tools, because I definitely wasn't using the right tools. I probably didn't have enough oil. Sorry, I didn't put my mic adapter in, so this is just the phone audio. So yeah, I mean, up until then, I thought it was pretty easy and manageable, and it did not give me anxiety, but the frying definitely did. And yeah, if I am going to keep doing this, which I think I'm going to, it still looks really good. I had a hard time keeping my oil clean, so by the end of it I had some burnt pieces that were floating around in it. We'll see how much that ruins the taste. I'm sure if you have more frying experience than me, then that really wouldn't be a problem. But as far as the heart shape goes, I'm pretty happy with that. I think they're so cute. And I wasn't sure how flaky they would turn out because I didn't use the club soda, but I think they look really, I don't know how, like the side kind of sat in the oil different. So it honestly looks really flaky. So the inside looks like, I haven't tried one yet. I like it. It turned out kind of dry, but I think that's my inexperience with frying. I think at first didn't have my oil hot enough. Like it started to pop a little bit and it scared me, so I turned it down. But then when I put them in there, nothing was really happening, so I turned it back up, and I'm telling you, I literally went from like a 3 or 4 heat level back up to a 9 by the end of it, just because the oil was scaring me. And I think this nice shaped one was earlier on where it sat in there longer because it wasn't hot enough, and that's probably why it dried out. This is one that has a little bit of the overcooked flakes in it. It looks overcooked, but I think that's just from the oil. So let me try this one and see if it's juicier. Yeah, it's definitely juicier. So I definitely had that early batch in too long. Let me put the camera so I can give you guys a closer look. Well, honestly, I'm sure it does turn out flakier with the club soda. But this does honestly kind of remind me of the McDonald's texture. This is a round one. So let's, heart shape, that turned out good. Heart shape, heart shape. They kind of look like potatoes, huh? Heart shape. So I think in general, it held the shape really well. I wasn't sure by the time you added like the fried stuff, if it would like lose its like heart form. But the heart really held up really nicely. So that's pretty satisfying. This one got kind of crazy. Overall, I'm really happy with it. I'm super glad that I experimented with this, and it definitely makes me interested in experimenting with frying. I had kind of put that off just because I don't want to get in the habit of frying stuff a lot for myself. That's the kind of food that I would like to try to get away from. But I don't know, maybe there's some healthier nugget substitutions that don't require frying, or maybe I can just look into getting organic things and just having better for you nuggets than the processed ones. I kind of like knowing that I know every single ingredient in this, so that's pretty satisfying. And honestly, the flavor is really good. They're a heck of a lot crispier than what you get at McDonald's because the ones sit there for a while. In terms of flavor, I would rate this, honestly, if I hadn't overcooked them, this would, for me, be like an 8 or 9. It's pretty close. I think if I added some sauce, this would be a great nugget substitute for me. And if I can get them to be a little bit juicier, I think it could be, I mean, when I say a 10, like, I'm not Josh Weissman or Wolfgang Puck. Like, a 10 to me is like, I don't know, I'm just a girl. So yeah, I think the flavor is good. The recipe in terms of difficulty and being overwhelming was probably a 7. If you get really into the shapes like me. So 1 means anxiety, 10 means less anxiety, and I would give this probably a 7. Obviously, focusing on the shapes is an extra layer of work and just making you tired. And then the frying, I'm hoping as I get better at that, it will make me less anxious and like tired. That's why I'm sitting down right now, because I'm exhausted from doing this. But yeah, I think a 7 is a fair rating for this. I'm definitely tired from doing it. I definitely don't know if it would make it into my rotation. This is something that if I did it, I'm almost curious. I should probably save like 2 or 3 and try to freeze them and see how they hold up in the freezer, to see if I can like sit down like every other month or once a quarter and make like 50 or 100 and then just have them when they run out, they run out. And I should see how they reheat. So I think I actually am going to do that, because this would be like a fun thing to have in the freezer, homemade nuggets. And then I could maybe stop even purchasing the bagged ones. I get my chicken for $1.99 a pound, and all those other things were just sitting in my pantry from other things that I make. So the cost for me is really low. And right now I purchased my nuggets for $8 a bag. So I think this could end up being a better price. Probably not by much, and honestly by the time you factor in time and effort, but maybe it's worth it for knowing all your ingredients. And I was able, oh, the sugar, it doesn't bother me. If these need sugar, I wouldn't know. And the black pepper didn't bother me at all. I like that it's over seasoning. They smell really good. I like that. So I personally wouldn't change anything about that. And probably if I was doing a full 1.5 pounds, I might even consider doing 50% more seasoning than what's on the recipe. Maybe not double, but that, I mean, you guys can do that for your personal preference. But yeah, overall, that was a really fun experience. I'm really glad I did it. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me on experimenting with new recipes, and I hope you had fun and thought the heart nuggets were cute. I hope to see you in another video soon. Bye guys.